sports.
We are Black Force. We are Florida.
Lewis Brinson and the Marlins got the party started early last night. Lewis Brinson with a line drive, left field, and that one is gone. A leadoff home run on the first pitch for Lewis Brinson. And Riddle in the air, right field. Back is Bautista, gone. A home run for JT Riddle. A three-run shot at 6-0. But those bats will be tested tonight as the Mets roll out one of the best in the game. 4 swings and misses. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Second strikeout tonight for DeGrom. Comes up empty there. Another strikeout. That is 6 for DeGrom. Meanwhile, Pablo Lopez gets the nod for the Marlins in what will be his major league debut. It's Saturday afternoon baseball between the Mets and the Marlins next. A cloudy Saturday afternoon here in South Florida, but a great day for the Mets and the Marlins. Middle game of a 3-game series between these two NL East rivals. Marlins took the opener last night. They have now won 3 straight against New York, trying to make it 4 today. With that, we say hi again, everybody, and welcome inside the broadcast booth. Paul Severino and Todd Hollinsworth. Well, last night it was Sandy Alcantara making his major league debut. Tonight, it's Pablo Lopez.
Yeah, real excited for him. I mean, this man is ready for it. He's earned it. Derek Jeter's talked about it since when he took over the organization. The young players are going to fight their way onto my roster, my major league roster, and if they do, they're going to be extended the opportunity. He has done just that in the minor leagues. He has dominated at AA and AAA. He has earned this start this afternoon for the Marlins.
And certainly hoping to pick up where Sandy left off last night. Speaking of, Lewis Brinson. Oh, man, a triple shy of the cycle. What a night he had.
Yeah, he certainly did. You know what? I kind of circled this one. I have a feeling there's more to come from Brinson. He was so good last night. 3 exit velocities plus 100. I mean, he was all over it. A base hit the other way, a double and a home run to left. He turned on 95. Good signs from the young Brinson. I really think we may be talking about Brinson turning the corner.
He has had an excellent month of June. Again, he had the 3 hits, but even the out last night was over 100.
105 miles an hour. This is what I'm talking about. You can't aim. I mean, you're going to hit into double plays, but when you start to find consistent contact and you can get it up over 100 miles an hour, that means you're squaring up the baseball. Those are good signs that the hits will soon follow.
And a lot more of that smile, too, in the month of June. His last 3 games, 4 for 9 with the home run that he had last night. But you mentioned finding solid contact, and that is always tough against the Mets starting pitcher today, Jacob DeGrom.
Yeah, don't miss your pitch. You may only get one all game long. He has been the best right-hander, well, one of them in the game right now. I think you debate with him and Scherzer, but I'll tell you what, the numbers don't lie. He's got them against everybody in the game right now. He is going out there giving consistent quality starts and giving this Mets team a chance to win a baseball game, even though they're having a hard time winning even his starts.
Yeah, I'm one of the baseball fans that still think the win is kind of cool, but with him, you definitely have to throw it out the window. His ERA so low, best in the major leagues, in fact, at 169. They just don't score for him.
It's almost ridiculous. You see the 169 ERA, only 5 wins to go along with it. You'd think even a team hanging around the bottom of the National League East would have a few more wins for DeGrom, but they have a hard time scoring runs for him.
But today in Miami, DeGrom not the headliner. It is Pablo Lopez. We'll talk more about his debut and check in with Craig and Nelly coming up after the break. Heritage Day here at the ballpark. Mets and Marlins middle game of 3. We head out to center field. Craig Minervini and Jeff Nelson.
All right, thank you very much, Paul. Very festive atmosphere here. We're in the spirit here. Nellie's opening
There's
up.
nothing like baseball. Hot dog, apple pie, peanuts.
Nellie's opening up all his peanuts.
Yes.
Tell me about Pablo Lopez, though, as he makes his debut here.
Well, this
We're all
young man
excited
is 6'3", 200 pounds. No, you know what? I think you take last night's game with Alcantara, and Pablo Lopez was obviously here. And I think he watches the game. He says, okay, you can see how quickly a big league game can get away from you. Yeah, you're playing the Mets. They're struggling offensively. And it really showed. Alcantara had 5 walks last night. His pitch count got up. He barely got through 5 innings, but he did get through 5, and he got his win. If you learn anything, you know what? Throw strikes. Maybe step back off the mound every once in a while and take a deep breath and say, I can't let this first outing get away. But it's all about the first out. It's all about that first inning for a young starter, 22 years old, to try to get through and really have a positive and say, you know what, now I can relax. And again, 6 runs in the 3rd inning really helped him.
Excellent excitement around this start for Pablo Lopez.
Like, it's still very unreal. Like, it still doesn't feel real that I'm right here, like in this field with these teammates, this scenario. It's still just like very overwhelming, but still very exciting as well.
All right, Pablo Lopez, who has excellent command. The scouts love it. The Marlins love it. He's dominated at Double-A, did very well in Triple-A. He gets his first look at the bigs. But it's a tough matchup against Jacob deGrom. Next.
Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By WB Mason, Huba WB Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. Chevrolet, see your South Florida dealer today. And by your local Toyota dealers, let's go places. We are ready for baseball on a Saturday afternoon. Sandy Alcantara making his first big league start yesterday, and Pablo Lopez his first big league pitch. A strike to Brandon Nimmo, and we are underway. Glad you're with us. Paul Severino, Todd Hollandsworth. The other names and faces you'll see today. The Mets starting lineup presented to you by Southwest. Nimmo in the top spot. Jose Bautista and Asdrubal Cabrera due up here in the first inning against Lopez, who is quickly ahead 0-2. So to say long awaited for a guy that's 22 years old, maybe stretching it, but the point of it is the numbers that he has put up this year at a couple of levels of the minor leagues, along with those make this a very special day.
Well, and I think for Lopez, as you see strike three, make the quick work of Nimmo on 3 pitches and the ability to go up, climb the charts. How about climb the top of the strike zone? That's it. Like Lopez has stepped on the accelerator, and I think the rest of us are now catching up. He's been absolutely tremendous this year at AA and AAA, and he's accelerated the story so much that we're like, well, wait a minute, this kid's coming along. He's ready for the big leagues.
Jose Bautista ready for that one. A deep drive to left field and a home run. Yeah, he saw the first 3 pitches that were fastballs, and he was geared up.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Well, this is going to be a good test. I mean, the one thing that you hear about Lopez is poise, composure, many things that make him up characteristics-wise. Going to get tested right away. Trying to rush Batista at the top of the zone. Look at that. That's 94 miles an hour at the letters. Now, we talked about Batista last night. Boy, oh boy, are we into this game quick. The idea was that Batista was really pulling the baseball well last night. He got a pretty good look once again. Challenging in on the inner third. 103 miles an hour off the bat, 403 feet. And he's locked in. He's been barreling up.
Offering at the first pitch, a chopper to the right side, and Cabrera is retired. So a strikeout, a home run, a ground out, 2-away here in the first.
All right, let's go ahead and give you the AutoNation scouting report before this inning ends. My goodness, 5 pitches in. Here you go, 2 outs and a home run. Well deserved. He absolutely earned it. 12 starts between AA and AAA, 1.44 ERA, 196 batting average against. Get this, did not allow more than 3 runs in any start, a whip below 1. So he's checking all the boxes. He's earned his way here. Now he does have some deceptive velocity. I think the best example of that might have been in at bat number 1 as he climbed the ladder real well against Nimmo. Obviously, he ran into a hot Batista, but we'll see where this goes. Mature beyond his years. That's exactly how he has been scouted. A lot of the scouts raving about his poise on the mound. He's under control, laser focus on the target. And again, I think tonight's, or should say this afternoon's, a good opportunity against this Mets team that's been struggling. We said it last night in regards to Sandy's start, and I think again the circumstances do apply. This Mets team has struggled.
2-1 to Michael Conforto. Lines a base hit into center field. 2-out knock.
A sinking fastball there that Conforto stays on. You can almost see that little tailing action, arm side run. Just enough to pick up the base hit into center field.
So we'll see him work from the stretch for the first time today as Wilmer Flores digs in, 1 for 3 in last night's ball game. Solo home run for Jose Bautista gets the Mets on the board. Mets have now hit 24 home runs in their last 20 games and 2 outs. And 38 of those home runs, or check that, 38 home runs in their last 33 plus games, 27 solo home runs. So they are connecting. It's just that nobody's been on base to really make them count as this team continues to scuffle.
Right. Well, one of the issues the Mets do deal with outside of the Batista home run, which I think is more about Batista and probably less about the Mets. They've struggled with the fastball.
A line drive out to center field. Welcome to the major leagues, Pablo Lopez. He gets his first strikeout, and the family loves it. But it's 1-0 New York. inning. First half inning in the books at the big league level for Pablo Lopez. He did register his first strikeout, gave up his first home run as well. A 1-0 Mets lead as Derek Dietrich and the Marlins will dig in against Jacob deGrom today. The rest of the Marlins starting lineup presented to you by Southwest. Brian Anderson and JT Realmuto hit second and third. They'll be due up this inning. Lewis Brinson, a 3-hit night last night, and Yadiel Rivera gets another start as the hit by pitch to Miguel Rojas has slowed him down a little bit, hasn't taken him completely out of the lineup, but Don Mattingly just wants to give him a little bit extra rest here and there as the first pitch from deGrom misses up and in. And well, it's kind of a joke and it's kind of serious. There you go, Jacob, you've gotten your run. Now pitch.
What do you mean, no complaining about run support?
Yeah,
right. Well,
that's the way that it's gone for Jacob.
Yeah, he doesn't get much. Well, you see the 169 ERA that leads Major League Baseball. Well, how about this? Hasn't beat the Marlins since 2016. Well, I'll get my jabs in somewhere. Mets have lost 10 of his 16 starts this year, despite that 169 ERA. Lefties hitting 235, righties 172 with a 441 OPS. You do see a few lefties in the Marlins lineup today. My goodness. Let's go ahead and get you the Auto Nation scouting report here early. Breakout season 2018 appears to be just that for deGrom. One thing that really stands out to me, not just the ERA, he's not giving up home runs. You see 97 miles an hour by Dietrich. Last season gave up 28 home runs and 201 innings of work. This year he's only given up 5 in just over 100. It certainly tells you about the improvement. It certainly explains it a little bit better. Quality job 1. Has made 8 consecutive quality starts. 12 of 16 on the season. It's the longest active streak in Major League Baseball. 158 ERA, by the way, during this best here in the National League, this best stretch. Long history with the Marlins, in fact. The Marlins have hit him well. Take by Brian Anderson, who in fact 2 for 4 against him. Marlins should have some opportunity today as a team hitting 279 against deGrom. But they got to get those runners in. deGrom 130 batting average against with runners in scoring position.
I mean, you have to buckle down.
Yeah.
If you've got the best ERA in baseball at 169, you are allowing some base runners, not many, but some.
Well, and then you kind of play it along with what the Marlins have done with, done against them historically. I mean, they got some hits against them the first time this year, and it's, it's the idea is that you got to get them across the plate too.
Anderson got a piece. The ball in 2 strikes. Hitting a run scored in last night's ball game. 5 for 19. The first 5 games of the homestand. Got him on the leg. Skied out to center field. This is Nimmo for the second out.
Here's the Mets for you defensively for this afternoon game. Porto's going to get the start in the left. There he is. Nimmo in center. You just saw him. Batista's already introduced himself as well with the bat. Frazier, Rosario, Cabrera, and Flores Mesoraco once again behind the plate. deGrom on the mound.
First-year manager Mickey Callaway has started great. I mean, he was the manager of the year for the first 12 games of the year. But since then, the Mets, for one reason or 12 others, has fallen on hard times right now as they started the year 11-1. They swept the Marlins in a 3-game set here on April 9th, 10th, and 11th. They won a game against Milwaukee. They were 11-1. Since then, 21-46. deGrom goes 1-2-3 against the Marlins in the first. 1-0. As we go to the top of the second inning, Venezuelan Heritage Day and a Venezuelan native on the mound. Pablo Lopez remembering another Marlin in the past.
I remember when, Miguel Cabrera was just called up and he hit that home run for Roger Clemens in the World Series. That was a big moment. I was like just like 7 or 8 years old. And, you know, he's always like, he's a big example, role model for all the Venezuelan players. So, like, he's really good at what he does.
Yeah, really all just kind of works out perfectly that this young man from Cabimas in Venezuela, as Todd Frazier loops one down the right field line, makes his major league debut on Venezuelan Heritage Day here at Marlins Park. So it all kind of comes full circle. Todd Frazier, Devin Mesoraco, and Ahmed Rosario due up against Lopez here in the second. Gave up the home run to Jose Bautista. He's got lots of family and friends in the house. Yadiel Rivera at third.
There's one thing we've noticed about this Mets team. They are ready to swing the bat against the fastball. They've seen the scouting report and they're ready to get after him a little bit. So those secondary pitches are probably going to play big. Maybe not the first time through, but definitely the second time.
Rocco swings at the first one, fouls it off himself. 0-1. Well, we saw Sandy last night was just, I mean, he has got an arm that lives in the high 90s, sometimes even triple digits. We won't see that type of velocity from Pablo Lopez. More low to mid 90s, right?
Right. 90, 92. Depends on, you know, he's got 2 fastballs. He'll throw the 4-seamer up. We've already seen it at 94. In fact, you could look at it right there. I think that caught the bat. There you go. Moving on. Is Rocco not going anywhere? Let's take another look. A little arm side run. Kind of hunts. Yeah, certainly did. Middle of the bat. You could look at the curveball or slider, if you will. It's got a little, you know, vertical, a little horizontal in it as well. Kind of sweeps. It's loose. It's not a sharp breaking ball. It's a good changeup, 87, 88 miles an hour. But the sinker, 2-seamer and the 4-seamer.
Well, in a day and age where velocity plays and everybody loves the strikeouts, sometimes the soft contact, sometimes the efficiency also works well, and that's where that 2-seamer can come into play.
Well, I think the game's changing once again, at least in my opinion, Paul, in that, you know, the hitters over the last couple of years have really geared up for the guys that throw really, really hard. And if you bring it into the game and you're throwing at 70, 75%, I'm not saying it's any easier to hit 95 plus, but my point is that the hitters are more geared up for that. I think we're kind of seeing that transition to where the guys who know how to pitch and have a little bit of velocity are really dominating the game. And what I mean by know how to pitch is use those secondary pitches. And I think that's what saved Sandy last night, if you ask me my opinion. I mean, we watched him struggle with fastball command almost all game. That changeup settled in about, I'd say about halfway through his start. He threw 27 changeups in his last 3 innings of work.
Slow dribbler up the third base line, and Rivera will eat it. An infield single for Devin Mesoraco with 1 out here in the second.
I mentioned the mechanics. You see how he tucks the baseball, almost touches his wrist. And inside as he kind of comes up over the top. Very loose, free delivery. That velocity at times will play up. Be deceptive, and we saw it at the top of the zone. See if we can kind of work back to that.
Here is Ahmed Rosario, 1 on and 1 out. First pitch fouled back, again offering at the first pitch.
Well, that's 5 of 8, first time through the lineup for the Mets. Swinging at that first pitch.
Rosario 0 for 1, but walked 3 times last night. He had only walked 8 times the whole year going into yesterday's ball game. And This one will take a left turn, foul ball.
Thank goodness for that, because I think that would have been another infield hit for the Mets. A little bit of the edge of that grass certainly helped it go foul. Yeah, Rosario set a career high with 2 walks and decided to go for 3, for crying out loud.
He's going to just blow that record.
If I were a betting man, all I'm saying is after last night's performance, he may swing at everything out of Lopez's hand today.
Just to work the averages back.
Well,
yeah.
just listen. Some people are just born with that itch to swing the bat. Some guys, you say they'll swing at anything that doesn't bounce, right?
There's the 0-2 to Rosario, who fouls it off. Was that you? Did you come out the womb swinging?
Well, listen, I trained myself. I was very early in my career. I swung it a lot. Now, I learned about myself at the major league level that I was better at hitting fastballs than the secondary pitches, so I was very disciplined. I just wouldn't swing at secondary pitches until I had to. Do my best unless they were up. Just got better with my game plan more than anything. Now, if you threw a fastball anywhere near the strike zone, I was swinging. I was not very particular on heaters. It's nearly in the living room.
Just to the left, so it's like in the dining room. That one also fouled back to the screen. Well, that's what we have seen quite a bit of. They are just missing some of these pitches. Now, that's the offensive side of things. The pitching side of it is just missing putting these guys away.
Right, that's it. I thought that might be the case last night. We did see a little bit of it from the Mets. The ability to extend at bats and foul pitches off and make a young pitcher work.
Through the left side, a base hit for Rosario. And Mesoraco will stop at second. 2 on and 1 out.
Well, for every pitch he threw Rosario until the breaking ball, it was fouled off. Kind of see the argument for why you kind of stick with the sinker. Goes to the breaking ball, kind of backs up on him a little bit on arm side, and Rosario finds a hole to the left side.
So now first and second. He's got the pitcher Jacob deGrom at the plate. Squares to bunt, and that one is foul. DeGrom does have 3 hits this season. Hitting .091, not nearly where another hitting pitcher that we saw earlier this week, Zach Greinke, had a couple of hits the other day. Got his average all the way up to 300 the other day.
Now, this is a big spot for Lopez and for the Marlins. Let's not forget who's going today for the Mets. Certainly do not want to see this inning lead to any more damage. Got to keep it close.
Rivera in at the corner, Bohr in at the corner. Both begin creeping in as they check on Mesoraco. That was the second inning last night that Sandy was in a little bit of trouble. 2 on and 2 out. And that's when JT Realmuto flew down to second base, picked off Todd Frazier, and bailed him out.
You cannot overstate the importance of that play in that inning. I mean, where Sandy was at and where he was going, only time would tell, but really felt like he was struggling with his command right there, and JT on the spot picked him up.
DeGrom swinging away on 1-2 and fouls it off to stay alive. Situations like this where Jacob deGrom can help put some runs on the board. I'm sure he is chomping at the bit. His last 4 starts, he is 1-3 as a pitcher. The team has scored 12 runs, or scored 12 runs in one of the games, the victory, and 4 total runs in the 3 losses. So run support has been hard to come by for Jacob deGrom, and for your, no disrespect meant, run-of-the-mill pitcher, that's one thing. This guy is kind of where Felix Hernandez was a few years ago. He's like giving up 1 or 2 runs a night, still not winning games. Pulls it back, and it's 2-2. Does have a home run in his career. Quite an at-bat as that one is scorched down the left field line. Already 7 pitches this at-bat as the youngster Lopez trying to figure out a way to put away the veteran deGrom. And now 3 balls and 2 strikes. About that run support, starts from April 21st to June 2nd. 8 starts for deGrom. 1 run or less in all 8. No runs in 5 of the 8. 2 wins, 6 no decisions. He bunts on 3-2. Real Muto has the play at first. And there are 2 away. So both runners move up 90 feet. It's Lopez, who in the first inning struck out Brandon Nimmo before giving up the home run to Jose Bautista, then a ground ball base hit line out, has worked a little bit harder in this inning.
Yeah, no doubt. 27. He's creeping up on 30. This is going to be a pretty good test right here. Struck Nimmo out on 3 pitches, but runners on 2nd and 3rd, and one of the Mets' best hitters this season in the box. Boy, oh boy, this could be a game changer. You got to get it out here.
Got him to chase, 0-2.
Nimmo's seen it all now. That was the changeup. He's seen the breaking ball. His first at bat, he saw 3 fastballs. Lopez has got an open door here to make a pitcher's pitch. Get out of this mess.
And he does just that. Get out of the mess by stranding 2. He had to work hard for it, but he leaves a couple of Mets on. 1-0 through an inning and a half. inning. Pablo Lopez wiggling around, some trouble in that frame in the top of the inning. Got a base hit, but then gave up a couple of base hits. In fact, after getting the first out, really had to work against Jacob deGrom, who ended up laying down the sac bunt, but then struck out Nimmo. So for all intents and purposes, you sit back and you say, well, no damage done in the inning, but a lot of pitches. And when we talk about what kind of pitch limit will he be on, and he isn't on one, because he's been up to over 100 pitches on multiple occasions, but sometimes it's not the total, but it's the innings and how hard you have to work in individual innings, and those battles that play into how long and how deep a pitcher will work. Justin Bour to lead it off. Bour, Castro, and Riddle in the second against deGrom.
Now Bour, the one Marlin with absolutely outstanding numbers against deGrom in his career. 8 for 19, couple home runs, 6 RBIs. That's right. There aren't too many people who can boast like this against deGrom.
On the ground to Rosario, who is on the second base side of the bag. And there is one away. Now, speaking of Justin Bour, join us for Superhero Day tomorrow as the Marlins take on the Mets and wrap up the series. The first 7,000 fans will get a limited edition Justin Bour superhero bobblehead. Visit marlins.com/themes to get your superhero ticket today.
Well, while we have a second, there was a foul ball off the bat of Jacob deGrom that went slicing into the stands. Just want people out there, thoughts and prayers. Little boy got hit in the forehead.
Being tended to right now by Marlins Park officials and medical staff.
Didn't see it coming. I mean, it was an absolute rocket off the bat.
Base hit for Starlin Castro through the right side. Now Marlins Park, along with most others, every ballpark in 2018 with that extended netting. And of course the unfortunate parallel is that a lot of the buzz about extending that netting came last year at Yankee Stadium when the Minnesota Twins and New York Yankees were playing. And Todd Frazier, who happens to be playing third base for the Mets today, lined one over the dugout and, unfortunately struck a young child. He was completely broken up over it, as one would expect. And of course, Major League Baseball doing a great job to make all the ballparks extend that netting so that this sort of thing doesn't happen. And how many times this year alone, and we're halfway through it, have we seen balls and bats go spiraling above the dugout and fortunately into the netting?
Right. Now for this little young man down there who's got that ice pack over his head, he did not see it coming. I mean, that's tough. deGrom, left-handed bat, sliced one. I mean, again, didn't get his hands up, didn't anything. The ball just hit him square. Good to see that he's sitting up right now.
Ball and a strike to JT Riddle. A season high 3 RBIs last night.
Well, he is as hot as he has been all season long. 429 over his last 5 games, 471 on the homestand. He's been using the whole field and hitting the barrel consistently. Impressive home run to right in yesterday's ball game.
That was a 3-run home run, his 4th on the year. He had 3 home runs last year in 70 games played, already 4 in 32 games this year. Runner goes, swung on and missed. Throw to second is in time. That's a caught stealing for Devin Mesoraco as he gets Starlin Castro, who had a stolen base in last night's ball game. One more look at the throw.
Well, right on the money for Mesoraco. Applaud the effort. Castro moving. The Marlins could probably run a little bit more this year, kind of hanging out at the bottom of the barrel, meaning they haven't tried a whole lot. They haven't had a whole lot of success, based on the fact that they haven't tried a whole lot.
And that is the first time that he has been caught stealing Holly, as you noted last night, since 2015. 4 for 4 prior to that, 2 for 2 last year, 4 for 4 the year before. And now DeGrom strikes out Riddle. Through 2 innings, the Mets have a 1-0 lead at Marlins Park. Lead on the solo home run for Jose Bautista, who will lead things off. Time for our Toyota Trend. Today marks just the 2nd time in Marlins club history that pitchers make their first big league starts in back-to-back games. So a very eventful weekend for the Marlins. Sandy Alcantara yesterday and Pablo Lopez today. Last happened in 1998. Home run to left field for Bautista in the first as he takes a look at the breaking ball right there. That one had a little bit of a snap to it, 79 miles an hour. The 1-2 in the dirt. Back in the first inning, it was a home run to left field, and that really has continued the trend for Bautista. Started the year without a home and then went to the Braves, and now with the Mets. And the last few weeks he's been doing, if not this, getting on base a lot.
Well, he's producing right now, and I think the Marlins need to be careful to that inside lane. I know it's part of the scouting report, and they're able to jam him right there. Maybe they sequenced a little bit better, obviously, in that at bat. But he jumped all over a pitch out of the zone. That tells you a guy that's locked in. He's looking for things, and when he is, he's getting his pitch. He's not missing it. 3 hits in the series so far.
Lopez came over from Seattle last July 20th, in fact. David Phelps went to the Mariners. Brian Hernandez, an outfielder, a right-handed pitcher. Brandon Miller. Lucas Schiraldi, a right-handed pitcher. Coming over in the deal for Phelps, and part of that is Lopez, who, depending on what scouting service you look at, in the top 20 in the Marlins farm system rankings, which, as we have noted quite a bit in the last 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, whatever it's been, they've gone from the bottom to the middle of the pack and only seem to be kind of moving up from there. And every deal the president of baseball operations, Michael Hill, has made, he has made it a point to bring over pitching, because finding the young, controllable pitchers in this day and age is very difficult. When you're able to get these guys like a Sandy last night or like a Lopez, turn them into something that they hope are the cornerstones of a rotation going forward,
Right.
that's how you have a sustainable winner.
Yeah, I mean, you're hearing it even from the top. I mean, whether you hear it from, there's that elevated fastball. Nice job. Climb the ladder, 23 miles an hour. Third strikeout this afternoon. You hear it around baseball. Yeah, Yankees looking for starting pitching. Dodgers have starting pitching. How about the Houston Astros and their starting staff? I mean, it's the same story, just being told different ways, and it's been told for well over 100 years. Got to have it. You need it. You always need it. And you're always looking for more.
Michael Conforto, base hit in the first inning, was left on base. Swings and misses, and it's 0-2. When there is nobody on base, I've noticed that Lopez works quickly. Just on that last pitch, he just about started to rock back and begin his delivery, and Conforto still had his head down. He knows what he wants to do, and a nice play by Rivera with the shift, moving from third to second base, makes the play to take away a hit from Conforto, and a 1-2-3 third inning for Lopez.
For all military by sharing a photo or video with hashtag #HatsOffForHeroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
Jacob deGrom ready to roll in the bottom of the third. First pitch to Lewis Brinson in there for a called strike. A 1-0 Mets lead in the major league debut of Pablo Lopez. To the screen, 0-2 for Brinson last night. A big night. 3 hits, was a triple shy of the cycle at his 10th home run, up to 30 RBIs, as the average, yes, is at 187 for the season, but the month of June he seems to have really turned some kind of a corner. This one is tapped, takes a funky spin off the mound, and Brinson's going to beat it out. It just caught the back of the mound, and I think Rosario had to redirect ever so slightly. And with the speed of Brinson, he's able to beat it out.
Well, I think this would have been a bare hand play all along, but watch, it's going to kind of go down the slope. Well, we didn't show it to you on that angle. It rolls. It went from a hopper to just rolling along the ground, so it kind of changed that angle. You're absolutely right. Might have bought him an extra step. As you see off the bat, it's, you know, bounding, and then it hits that slope and stays down, and he had to redirect a couple of steps. Those 2 steps, you give him to Brinson, he's safe at first.
So an infield single for Brinson, and that will bring up Yadiel Rivera.
Well, 4th hit of the series for Brinson.
And Rivera takes a strike at the top of the zone. Let's check in with Craig Minervini.
All right, well, exciting night here. Certainly, this is Kaylee next to us. That's Pablo's girlfriend, his sister Sylvia, and Dad Danny. You can imagine the emotion. Danny, we're gonna have an interpreter. Just your emotions watching your son finally here at the young age of 22 in the major leagues.
La emoción me embarga, una emoción muy grande verlo pichar acá después de verlo jugar cuando niño, jugar en las menores. El escenario es mucho más grande, mucho más envolvente, y el compromiso de enfrentarse a un equipo grande liga y brindar lo mejor de él. Yo pienso que ahorita lo está haciendo muy bien y me ha calmado bastante la emoción. El miedo escénico que yo tenía de entrar aquí y de verlo allí se me ha bajado un poquito al verlo que está un poquito.
Let me have my interpreter jump in and then we'll get.
Extremely excited to be here, seeing my son playing. I saw him playing in the minor leagues. Now that he's playing in the big leagues, is extremely excited, and obviously as excited as I can be as a father, there is nothing better than seeing my son playing out there.
You played baseball yourself. You were a right fielder?
Sí, yo fui un pelotero como Phil en mi juventud. Cuando estudiaba medicina, al mismo tiempo hacía lo que llama uno el béisbol aficionado, y lo jugué hasta la máxima categoría, pero siempre como outfield, nunca como pitcher. Quería que él fuese outfield, pero no desarrolló velocidad en la carrera, y como tenía muy buena potencia en el brazo, lo convertimos. Pues yo ayudé a hacer esa transición de outfield cuando muchacho a...
Let me going to stop you. This is very taxing.
I did play on my own. I wanted my son to be an outfielder. He just didn't develop the speed. However, seeing him out there, it makes me extremely proud.
Well, there's a lot to be proud about, no question for Pablo. Are you nervous watching him?
Ya se me está calmando por la confianza que ustedes me han brindado, y que el muchacho ha sacado cine muy bueno. Eso me ha bajado un poquito la presión.
How is he as a hitter? Pablo's coming up to hit.
Él era buen bate, pero estuvo en la organización Los Marineros y allí muy poco practicaban bateo. No practicaban bateo en la organización con los pitchers. Se le ha olvidado. Yo estoy tratando de entusiasmarlo, estimularlo y que vuelva a tomar el camino, porque acá se necesita el apoyo del bateador. No puede ser siempre tocador de bola. Tiene que aprender a mover a corredores, tiene que aprender a batear detrás de los corredores, tiene que aprender a chocar con fuerza porque tiene fuerza. Y tiene que aprender a tocar bien porque no lo es.
I try to encourage him as much as I can. I try to get the strength to be able to play out there. Every day we practice, every day we talk about it. And then obviously as a father, I try my best to encourage him.
Nicely done. Thank you. You must have talked a lot of baseball at the table. I have a guess on that.
Gracias a usted. Time for you.
Thank you. All right, there he is. How about those baseball conversations? They must have been a lot of fun. You can tell the passion that Danny has. Let's go back to you guys.
Greg, Danny, thank you so much. Yeah, it's terrific. I'm sure there's a lot of excitement, a lot of stress right now. Not only his first big league start, but his first big league at bat, too. He squares to bunt. The offer may have gotten a piece, too, either way. It is a ball and 2 strikes. Well, I think Sandy's folks here yesterday, and now his folks here.
Yeah, I think the circumstances are a little different today with DeGrom on the mound. I think that, you know, one of the things you learn at the major league level is that, listen, you've earned your way here and that you've got to get past, even in the box, who you're going up against. You see him bunt through for strike 3. Second out here at the bottom of the 3rd. What I'm kind of getting at is, like, if today were the day that I was making my first start, DeGrom was on the mound, I don't think I would learn that lesson today. You know what I mean? Oh, okay, you want me to bunt against Jacob DeGrom right now. Oh, okay, I'll do my best to try to get that done. At some point, listen, if you're going to stay here, you're going to get past that. It's going to be more about arm slots and all that other stuff. But those are some of the battles that young guys go through and, trying to get themselves cemented in the major league level.
Line foul down the right field line for Derek Dietrich. As we go back to the top of the order here in the bottom of the 3rd. Dietrich, the first of 3 strikeout victims tonight. or this afternoon rather, for Jacob deGrom. He's given up 2 hits, 1 to Lewis Brinson, who they check on over at first. Dietrich now 9 for 24 with a home run, 3 RBIs against the Mets this year. But now just 3 for 20 on the homestand. Diamondbacks in town for 4 prior to the Mets. Rays coming in next. But if you go back basically the last month, just about to the day, right? May 31st is the date. 361 average for Derek Dietrich. Up to 11 home runs and 30 RBIs on the year. Runner goes, and that one got Dietrich.
Fastball way up and in off the elbow pad. I don't think that there was a little deflection there. He got it up in the tricep area. Looks like he's going to be okay. 11th time this season he's been hit by a pitch.
Looks like it got the inside of the tricep. Either way, he's on at first. Brinson moves to second for Brian Anderson. Pops the first one up behind home plate. Mesoraco gives it a look, and it's 0-1.
Yeah, good to see. This is a battle of the game's 2 best at this exact situation. deGrom, one of the best. With runners in scoring position, stranding runners getting the out. Anderson, one of the best as well with runners in scoring position, particularly with 2 outs. In fact, fantastic job this year on the season, hitting well above 400. deGrom 130, only 9 hits with runners in scoring position.
Sharply hit to short. Rosario the flip, and Cabrera beats Dietrich by a step to the bag through 3. The Bautista home run holds it up. 1-0 Mets. A 1-0 Mets lead. Second of a 3-game set here today. Tomorrow back on the air even earlier than today. A 12:30 start time for the South Florida Honda Dealers Marlins Live pregame show. It is Superhero Day. So if you can't get to the ballpark to get your Justin Bour superhero bobblehead, make sure you tune in to Fox Sports Florida 12:30 tomorrow. First pitch a little after 1. Called strike to Wilmer Flores, who leads it off for New York, and Todd Frazier and Devin Mesoraco.
Well, I'll tell you what, Lopez so far has been filling it up. 58 total pitches, 43 strikes. My goodness. 14 balls. He's faced 13 hitters. That is part of the arsenal. I was reading the scouting report on him last night, this morning as well, kind of going back over it. There's one quote in there that I couldn't help write down. Prioritizes strikes above all else.
Left field line, fair ball into the corner for Flores. He'll be on with an extra base hit to lead off the inning.
Now it's a breaking ball. Last two, I will call them legit hits. Mesoraco had an infield roller, but this, along with the Rosario base hit, come against the curveball down into that corner, and the Mets have a runner in scoring position once again.
In steps Todd Frazier, who grounded out to Rivera at third back in the second inning. Take strike one. There's a word or two for the home plate umpire, Eric Cooper. Gary Cedarstrom is the crew chief over at first. Corey Blazer at second. Stu Sherwater at third. And we'll test Rivera again, who looks back Flores. One away here in the fourth.
Are you ready for storm season? We are. See how you can prepare at fpl.com/storm.
1-on-1 out for Devin Mesoraco. Now, when you say, or when you read and then say, prioritizes strikes above all else, like, sure, pitchers want to throw strikes. So what does that mean in a baseball sense?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, and of course we have to see a little bit more, my understanding would be is that sometimes when you learn as a young man, and you maybe get away with this a little bit more, not only does his fastball play, meaning the four-seamer up, the two-seamer as well, but he is more likely to get to the corners and work inward as opposed to outward. Sometimes, you know, at the major league level, well, Maddox used to do this all the time. I mean, he'd find out how much he can get and then go find out how many more inches he can get, meaning you're on the corner and you're working off that corner to where it stops, and then you realize where your lane's at as far as you can go to get it. You know, some young men, they kind of figure it out, you know, this way. And again, part of the Mets' approach early was exactly what the scouting report would tell you. Prioritize the strike. So what does that say? He's throwing the ball over the white. We got to be ready to hit. Now, what he's been able to do is get into a better rhythm here lately over the last couple of innings, throw more strikes, use his secondary pitches a little bit better. But early on, this Mets team roared out based on that scouting report, no doubt about it. They came out ready to swing the bats. 5 of the first 8 guys jumped on that first pitch, meaning you're going to get something out over the plate, meaning if he misses more to the middle than off the edges.
Mesoraco to third, backhanded on the line by Rivera. Strong throw across the diamond, and the throw goes to second, but Flores is back. Backhand play over at the hot corner by Rivera to get out number 2.
Well, Love it once again. Nice job with the backhand. Good throw across. Like JB at first base, thinking about picking up an out over at second, putting Flores down, trying to get a slide in there. He broke his bat as well. Sinker really starting to play.
They will intentionally walk Rosario to set up a force at any base with 2 outs and the pitcher DeGrom coming up. It's the first walk of the afternoon for Lopez. And he had struck out Nimmo and given up a home run on what, the first 4 pitches, 5 pitches of the game?
4 pitches in. First pitch to Batista, which is actually a ball in all honesty. I got to tell you, I mean, like, you can't game plan for what Batista did. I mean, you know, the fact that the score's 1-0 is more on Batista just being Jose. the ability to expand his strike zone even with velocity and hit a long home run.
One now to DeGrom, who takes low.
Now, you wouldn't chalk this up as a as a mistake in the book. I mean, let's be honest, Paul. Look where that pitch is. I mean, that's at the letters. That's a ball. But again, you're not like, okay, don't throw a first pitch fastball at his letters so that he can hit it 400 feet. It's just a mere mistake.
Pitch second inning. Solidified his pitch count, or at least neutralized his pitch count in the third. Trying to do so here in the fourth as DeGrom lifts one out to left field. Toward the line is Dietrich for the third out of the inning. Lopez strands a couple. Still 1-0. Is brought to you by Southwest Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Come out and join us for our community grand opening event on July 21st from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. For more information, visit clevelandclinic.org/Coral Springs, and by La Lechonera, the original mojo since 1970. Paul Severino, Todd Hollandsworth, Craig Minervini on a Venezuelan Heritage Day here at Marlins Park. A 1-0 Mets lead, however, in the Major League debut of Pablo Lopez. As we are through 3.5 innings, he is through 4. You like what you've seen so far?
I really have. He's done a nice job making adjustments throughout this ball game. I mean, think about it. Boy, the Mets came out ready to swing. He had to get off that fastball. They weren't going to let him settle in. He was forced to throw the slider, the curveball, and the change quick. Made some nice adjustments. I think last inning was a pretty good tell as well. Leadoff double to Flores, a couple of ground balls. Frazier and Mesoraco, a couple of veteran hitters, chewed up their bats with that sinker of his. Right on the corner. It's 0-2 to JT Realmuto, who grounded out to Frazier back in the first inning. Justin Bour and Starlin Castro to follow here in the fourth against DeGrom. And he gets the strikeout, his fourth. He's had at least one in every inning as we check in with Craig Minervini.
To hear. Well, thank you very much, Paul. Half's tackle box continues here at Marlins Park for charity. This is Krista. She's Kyle Bearclaw's girlfriend. Alex Smith, Brian Anderson's fiance. Let's go over your tackle box first. What do you got? I know this is exciting for all the girlfriends and wives on the team, right?
Very exciting. First year for us. We have a signed bat and ball. And he was very generous to go ahead and get that taken care of. He also has a meet and greet, so someone can sign up and win that, and they can get signed whatever they want. We also did a fun date night. We love going to the movies, so we threw in some Fandango movie gift cards, and
Cheesecake Factory's in there.
Brian adores Cheesecake Factory, so we threw that in there. It's his favorite place. He loves the Oreo Dream Extreme cheesecake.
He does eat the cheesecake.
Oh, he loves the cheesecake. It's not a trip to Cheesecake Factory unless he gets a piece of cheesecake. So we also threw in some golf stuff. That's Brian's favorite activity in the off season until it gets cold in Arkansas, but that's what he loves to do.
Was he upset at the World Series in college the other night?
Yeah, we were heartbroken about our Hogs, but they'll get him next year.
All right, I want to ask, what about Kyle's tackle box?
We compiled a bunch of his favorite things. We have a Game of Thrones coffee mug because he loves Game of Thrones and coffee.
We got to go to break, but we see
okay.
some great things there, including Sour Patch Kids. Paul?
Greg, thanks. 1-0. A 7-pitch bottom of the 4th inning. Pablo Lopez is back on the hill. Our Florida Lottery in-game jackpot. 560th player to play for the Marlins is Pablo Lopez, the 124th pitcher to make his major league debut. 130 big league debuts this year, 81 pitchers. Lopez, the freshest ink on the list. Face the top of the order. Brandon Nimmo, Jose Bautista, and Asdrubal Cabrera here in the 5th inning.
Yeah, no surprise Nimmo squaring around to bunt. He saw 6 pitches before this at bat, made no contact, struck out twice.
And he grounds to second base. 0 for 3.
Tell you what, he's in a little bit of a groove right now. He's working now into the 5th inning. He's had 73 pitches, so after that big 2nd inning, Paul, he's done a real nice job settling down.
Here's the guy that capitalized on, I guess you could say, his only mistake today, Jose Bautista, who fouls one high down the left field line. A solo home run on the 4th pitch of the game. That's been it for the offense on both sides. The 0-1 will be the 75th pitch for Lopez in this one. This is inside.
I'll tell you what, He's fearless. Lopez has stayed with the game plan. I talked about it a number of times. Batista, you're kind of walking that tightrope. You really believe you can get him out in there. Easily done. Here's what I'm kind of getting at. Batista's got, what, 3 hits in the series now, including the home run today. He's not afraid to go inside to Batista once again.
Well, you get a sense in kind of hearing the way Lopez speaks that he's got a certain level of maturity to him, even though he's just 22 years old. A baby by big leaguer standards, really. And certainly very cerebral in the way that he pitches, that he prepares, the way that he strikes out Bautista. His 4th today.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, the other thing that stands out is how good his breaking ball is starting to get. Early on, it was rolling out of his hand. Now it's got some depth. It's getting a little bit more vertical and less horizontal right there. Batista gave up on that pitch about halfway to home.
Talked to Dad earlier today. Craig Minervini did. His dad's been pumped all afternoon. Cabrera grounds one foul. Cabrera today 0 for 2, a ground out and a strikeout. So Tommy John surgery a few years ago for Lopez, and that was kind of right in that time, in that rest in the rehab, that he realized how to go about the routine, finding the routine. And I'm sure you can attest to it. That's so important at the big league level, is having that to rely on.
Absolutely. Understanding how it works here like it doesn't work anywhere else. You can prep yourself. It's really about kind of like AAA. AAA life is nowhere near the big league life.
Keeps rolling along through 5 innings for Pablo Lopez. He's given up the 1 run. To Jose Bautista. Other than that, Pablo Lopez battled through a 30-pitch second inning, but for all intents and purposes, 5 innings of work. He's been impressive. He's been sharp, and he has gone right after an aggressive Mets lineup. His first pitch swinging J.T. Riddle against Jacob deGrom. Riddle, Brinson, and Rivera. 7 pitches in the bottom of the 4th for deGrom.
They continue to swing early.
Brzezinski up. Lopez would be due up 4th in the inning, so it could be dependent on whether or not his spot comes up and what the situation is. It's up to 82 pitches as Riddle is retired. 5th strikeout for DeGrom. Time now for this day in Major League history. June 30th, 2008, Tiger Stadium. That's when they began demolition on a 96-year-old ballpark. Had that overhang in right field. Reggie Jackson, right, was the one in the All-Star game, hit it onto the roof.
It's like watching a firework. Everybody's head just went up, just kept going, and it never came back.
Did you play there?
No.
Interleague?
I did not get to play there. Although, don't think I didn't want to. It was on my list early in my life. With the overhang and the short porch and right, I wanted to crack at it.
Two 2-0 to Brinson. Yeah, you got that. They've revamped Wrigley Field and the dugouts there. Fenway Park still wasn't built for today's player, we'll put it that way, in terms of the height of the dugout. You can't get too excited in those dugouts, or you'll bonk your head.
We've been ranting and raving about Brinson here in the month of June. Now, 277 is the batting average, but here's what's impressive, at least in my personal opinion. Over half, almost half of his hits have gone for extra bases. As I said, 277, 23 hits this month, 4 doubles, 4 triples, 4 homers.
Strikes out there. The backswing got a piece of Mesoraco, who's okay. Back-to-back strikeouts, that's 6.
Well, and what's unique about DeGrom is he throws the changeup to righties. You don't see too many that are willing to do it. Lefties don't do it to lefties. Righties very rarely do it to righties. Pretty good look at it. 88 miles an hour. Look at the sink. In fact, struck JT Realmuto out his second at bat on 4 consecutive changeups. I mean, this is what's made DeGrom so good this season. I mean, there is no consistent pattern. We watched in the first inning, 4-seam fastball, a few sinkers, but really was using the slider both to the lefties and to the righties. Your second time through, we've seen a heavy dose of changeups for no other reason other than he needed to, I guess, throw it. Almost a feel thing, part of the game plan. It wasn't like he was getting knocked around first time through.
This has a similar feel. As I'm going through and looking at the scorecard. A similar feel to that start on May 23rd. The Mets scored a run on a home run in the 5th inning, kind of had that 1-0 lead. It was in the 9th when the Marlins scored twice. Finish that thought when we come back as DeGrom has himself a 12-pitch inning and he strikes out the side. Nothing as you go to the top of the 6th inning. Yeah, Venezuelan Heritage Day here at Marlins Park. Enjoying a Saturday afternoon here in Miami, watching Jacob DeGrom and Pablo Lopez in a pitcher's duel. 7 strikeouts through 5 innings for DeGrom, 4 strikeouts through 5 innings for Lopez in his big league debut. What I was getting at before we went to break, and it's hard to really get into too many conversations with the way DeGrom's been going, as he has set down the last 6, 4 on strikeouts, a total of 19 pitches, was when the Marlins saw him in May at Citi Field. He had 7 strikeouts through 5, as he does today. It was 1-0 through 5, as it is today. Marlins scored a couple of runs in the 9th inning and won 2-1 that night. We'll hope for the same result today, at least in terms of the victory. Dribbler from Conforto is foul. 1-1.
Well, between Alcantara and Lopez, they both kind of reached the same point in the ballgame. Obviously, Lopez back out for the 6th. His pitch count much lower than Sandy's. He was at 98 pitches. In fact, had 3 ball counts 8 times. Lopez has only had 3 of those. That's why that pitch count is under control.
Well, how many more starts Lopez or Alcantara, for that matter, will make in the major leagues? Kind of up to them. I mean, the opportunities arose with the injuries to Urena, who's working his way back. Should pitch at some time next week. At a bullpen yesterday, felt good today. Sounds like he'll do one of those touch and feel type bullpens, get a feel for the off-speed pitch and the breaking stuff, and then should pitch at some point next week. Caleb Smith, of course, out for the year, and Dan Straley finishing up his suspension as another strikeout for Lopez. So Straley coming back tomorrow in the series finale.
5th strikeout on a sinking fastball. Well done. Right off that outside corner. Fordo actually picked up a base hit on this pitch a little earlier in the ballgame. Went back there again and missed.
So how long they stay in the rotation will be up to them, but both rather sharp. Room to grow, I think, would be a way to put Sandy's start yesterday. It wasn't bad by any stretch, but I don't think anybody thought that he'd come out and be Pedro Martinez in his first start. But he had pockets of being very impressive. And today, at 90 pitches, the 1 home run allowed, the 1 run allowed for Lopez. 1-1 to Wilmer Flores, who comes up empty.
Well, for Flores, doubled his last at bat, extending his hitting streak now to 8 games.
Check over at first, no swing. Lopez set to lead off the bottom of the inning, so you figure as he is approaching 100 pitches, number 93 induces a fly ball to left. And this might be his last inning. Time for the Chevrolet Prospect Spotlight. From one youngster to another, Monte Harrison, Double-A, Jacksonville, last 12 games, hitting .308 with a .426 on-base percentage. He's first in the Southern League in runs, third with 18 stolen bases. Came over with Lewis Brinson and others. Trade for Christian Yelich in the Milwaukee Brewers this offseason. Todd Frazier takes a called strike on the outside corner. 0-1.
Now for Harrison, good to see him doubling up. I don't think we've had too many guys this season that have doubled up on the spotlight list. He has now been on there at least 2 times that I can remember. You see that he is staying hot, getting on base pretty regularly.
Another one of the names in that trade, Isan Diaz, leading Jacksonville in batting average at .325, and hits and doubles in the month of June. Frazier in the air, left center field, and that one is gone. A solo home run for Todd Frazier. And the Mets double their lead. It's 2-0.
Well, you've probably heard me applaud already this afternoon the fact that Jacob deGrom does not fall into patterns too often. I will say this, not that he needed to change necessarily, but this is the two-seam fastball, right? We saw Frazier all over it. Well, not all over it. He was all over it on that pitch, but that's what he saw so much of his first two at-bats. That two-seamer in on his hands. In fact, tapped one to the third baseman. In fact, grounded out a couple of times.
And Mesoraco lifts one to right center. Brinson on the track. And if that's it for Lopez, surrendered 2 home runs. Nice outing, though. 2-0. Back, Jacob deGrom has been doing what those up in New York tend to say about his outings, and that is deGrominate. He just struck out the side last time through. He's been terrific, 7 strikeouts.
Well, the entire arsenal has been working, and it's been his so choosing of what that arsenal is, kind of explaining his effectiveness. Generally speaking, we talk about a guy who throws sinkers, sliders. If it works, he's probably going to stick with that game plan until somebody forces him off that game plan. deGrom, second time through the lineup, started using that changeup more and more. Sure, throw the slow curveball now. You haven't thrown it all day.
Why not? Well, J.B. Shuck hasn't seen any of the arsenal today as he pinch hits for Pablo Lopez to lead off the 6th. 9-1-2 due up. He gets out of the way of that one. 94 miles an hour up at the letters. 4 hits as a pinch hitter this year for J.B. Shuck. Looking to get something going. Marlins are within striking distance. Of course, deGrom has seen this play out a lot. I don't think he'd give back a 2-0 lead. Better to be up 2-0 than down 2-0. But just in terms of the narrative with deGrom, he pitches great. Mets don't score a ton. They've lost 10 of his 16 starts this season. Side note there, he's got the best ERA in baseball. His 8th strikeout, 1 away.
Are you ready for storm season? We are. See how you can prepare at fpl.com/storm.
8 strikeouts, and he has had 61 pitches. 45 of those pitches for strikes.
Yeah, those starters today absolutely outstanding at filling up the strike zone. It has been, honestly, watching deGrom, this has not been about the Marlins. This has been as much about deGrom and where he's at right now with his game. Came into today 1.46 ERA on the road. How's that for you? I mean, to me, that's one thing that I kind of learned from some of my teammates, the starters. Like, you want to know how good a guy is? Tell me what he does on the road. Tell me how he's doing on all the other mounds. how he's doing when the other team has all the fans in the seats.
Well, he struck out the last 4 Marlins. But even that's not that impressive, because if you remember back to September 15th of 2014 against the Marlins, he tied a modern era record, striking out 8 straight to begin a start. So these runs of strikeouts for DeGrom, certainly nothing new.
You better be careful with the Marlins, though. They'll jump on you if you're not careful.
There's Rosario, can't come up with a play. And Dietrich has himself technically an infield single, even though Rosario was on the outfield grass. 1 on, 1 out.
His second time on base this afternoon. Swing there, got a pitch he can hit. Drove it back through the middle. Nice approach. Marlins have given DeGrom the most earned runs in any start this season. 4. They go back to April to find it, but they are the team that did it.
The last start for DeGrom was against Clayton Kershaw. He said afterwards, 6 strikeouts in 6 innings, by the way, as Anderson taps it foul. Gave up 3 runs that night, but he was frustrated with how he threw. I mean, he just exudes perfectionist, doesn't he?
Well, certainly he's at the point where, you know, like we learned, I mean, he's 8 consecutive quality starts. I mean, he's in the zone right now. You're talking about like a hot hitter in terms of, you know, 10 for 20, 15 for his last 25 at the plate. Well, that's where DeGrom is on the mound. Every time he takes the ball, he's expecting results. Again, how many times do we talk about guys switching gears or switching patterns merely for the sake of switching that pattern up? Typically we talk about a guy who falls into a rhythm. You see that rhythm until a hitter breaks that rhythm. DeGrom is all about using his arsenal the way he wants to use it.
Well, whether it's DeGrom or Joe Schmo on the mound, these are the types of games the Marlins feel comfortable in at home. Keep it close, up or down, keep it close. Figure out a way to eke out runs late in the ball game. You saw Conley up. And the Marlins bullpen still down by 2. No matter how good DeGrom has been, it's just a 2-0 deficit right now. It's not necessarily the case that the Mets bullpen has been lights out this year. They have the most losses for a bullpen in baseball, 21.
Now, DeGrom's still only at 70 pitches, though, so he's got a long way to go.
True. Two balls and 2 strikes to Anderson, who sends one out to left field, and that one is gone. A 2-run home run for Brian Anderson, and this game is tied.
Well, should we be surprised? 2 strikes. Brian Anderson coming through for this Marlins ball club. How about it now? My goodness, we talk about patterns. Told you DeGrom had, for the most part, stayed patternless today. 1 too many changeups for Brian Anderson. Jumped all over the one that stayed up at the belt. Tie ball game.
Now JT Realmuto pops the first one back and out of play. 0-1.
I'd put this in my notes. I wasn't sure we would get to it when it comes to Anderson. It was just kind of a reflection on his season, consistency of it. You see the swing behind home plate one more time. Paul, 41. I think I remember seasons where I might have been in the 40s, like for the whole season. 41 2-strike hits. 41.
Three for 7 with a home run against Jacob DeGrom. Not bad. As Real Muto grounds to Rosario.
Not to mess with the rhythm, but sometimes I feel like going up to BA during batting practice, like, why don't you just do the two-strike thing all the time? You know? I mean, he's hit 242 with 2 strikes on him. I mean, the league average, again, 169. He's done some of his best work with his back against the wall.
He has tied this game up with 1 swing of the bat. Now a ball and no strikes on Justin Bour. Couple of ground outs today for Bour. And now Lopez off the hook for the loss. And if that score held, it would have been you know, it would have been one of those tough luck losses. He gave up a home run in the 1st inning, a home run in the 6th inning, kind of bookending what was a terrific outing for Pablo Lopez. But thanks to Brian Anderson, it will be a no decision today for Lopez.
I'm going to be honest with you, Paul. I mean,
if they score here, they still get the win, by the way. But go ahead.
Well, the walk to Bour, you know, just kind of getting back to Anderson. You know, you look at his at-bats even in this ball game, just out in front of a breaking ball his first time up, deep fly ball to center, hit a rocket. His second at-bat, I mean, he grounded out to short. But again, I was sitting there thinking, boy, he's had some actually pretty good at-bats against DeGrom today. Let's see if one thing leads to another. But just, this is what talent does. They respond in the situations against the elites. And in this moment, this team needed a big swing of the bat. What did he do? He stepped up.
Trust me, there's 2 outs, so that's why I held off, but I was about ready to get the soapbox out. I was going to save it for the top of the 7th inning. So, and I may still do that. Lined into right center field and down for a base hit. Bour on his way to 3rd. And it's a knock for Castro, who now has another multi-hit game. That's 4 during this 6-game hit streak.
Well, some of the hot players stay hot. Nice approach, stayed inside the baseball here, drives it into right center field. Nipple over to cut it off. Guy JB, 2 outs, chugging well. Nice job putting it up, picking him up, putting him down, getting over to 3rd base.
Tomorrow he'll have a cape on, or at least the bobblehead will. Justin Bour's superhero bobblehead day tomorrow at the ballpark. He is 90 feet away right now from breaking this 2-2 tie. Pitching coach Dave Island out to the mound to talk with Jacob DeGrom. He's now up to 80 pitches. The inning started by DeGrom striking out the pinch hitter J.B. Shuck, but then a base hit for Dietrich, a 2-run home run for Anderson to tie the game. Real Muto grounded out to shortstop. A walk to Bour, a single for Castro, and now 1st and 3rd for J.T. Riddle.
Well, DeGrom has really gone after JT with the slider. Let's see what he does this time. JT's able to make an adjustment.
Last time JT Riddle had 2 runners on base, he drove everybody home.
Sure, why not? Elevated fastball in on the hands. Nice job keeping it short and quick.
Thinking about it there as he chased that one a little in off the plate.
Well, that's where pitch recognition really has to come in for JT. He's got to try to see that out of DeGrom's hand as quickly as he can. His slider kind of acts like a cutter.
Up the first baseline, it's going to hug the grass, and Flores can't make the tag. Riddle is safe. Bour scores, and the Marlins have a 3-2 lead.
Wow. Oh, my. What a game-changing play. My goodness. Well, slow roller to the right side. JT hustling out of the box. If you've got no play, you got to let that go. Certainly the Marlins will take it. Flores comes in to get the ball. He's thinking about letting it go and kind of decides that at the last second it's not going to. Under those circumstances, you got to let that ball keep rolling. Marlins will absolutely take it.
JB comes in to score, and just like that, Lopez goes from being on the hook to in line for the win in his big league debut. But a lot of baseball left here. 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th. Here's Lewis Brinson, and Brinson scorches one to left field, but back a few steps is Conforto to make the play. Another rocket off the bat for Brinson. Speaking of rockets off the bat, a 2-run home run for BA. Marlins added another 3-2 through 6. Show from the nation's capital. Major League Baseball All-Star Game, July 17th, only on Fox, or stream it live on the Fox Sports app. Well, one guy that could be there, in the eyes of some should be there, is Brian Anderson. Now, okay, fine. Maybe he won't be going to the All-Star Game. You can vote and change that. But how about Rookie of the Year? Should be getting a lot more run for Rookie of the Year if you ask one Marlins broadcaster. Okay, now this is just average. Okay, he's at 293. Soto with the home runs, terrific. Had 2 yesterday in a 4-hit game. What is he, the first teenager to have ever done that? None of the guys on this list, though, are playing every single day. Like every single day. Hasn't had a day off. You can run through a lot of different statistics where Brian Anderson is at the top of the rookie leaderboard. He should be getting a ton of run, and I don't know if nationally he is. In fact, I know nationally he isn't, and that to me is a bit of a joke. Adam Conley takes over. Ahmed Rosario to lead off. Rosario, and nobody is currently in the on-deck circle. It would be DeGrom and Brandon Nimmo. 8, 9, and 1 due up for the Mets.
Well, how the tide has turned. Adam Conley has been warming up the entire time, by the way. So he started warming up. I thought he was coming into a 2-0 ball game. Now he's got a run to protect, a lead to protect, I should say. 3-2 for the Marlins. He's been so good this year. Did give up a home run his last time out, last outing against the Diamondbacks.
Jose Reyes has emerged into the on-deck circle. As Rosario to Rivera, we'll see Reyes.
Hit it out of the park with a family-friendly deal. Pick up the Aquafina 4-pack tomorrow when the Marlins take on the Mets at 1:10. 4 tickets, 4 Nathan's All Beef hot dogs, and 4 Pepsi soft drinks or Aquafina waters. Packages start at just $84. Purchase yours today at marlins.com/offers. Reyes is going to get the pinch hit here. 3 for 21 here in 2018. That's 143 average as a pinch hitter. 8 for 40 in his career.
Holly, am I crazy on the Anderson thing? Like, I
No.
feel bad going off on a little rant there, but like, because I've seen it. I've seen guys who I respect and frankly have worked with in the past.
Right. And I certainly
not even in the top 5.
Right. Well, I mean, there's no doubt we've got to do our job in certainly promoting him. I mean, it's part of the cause. I understand that, you know, the way that it generally works, and having lived this and certainly benefited from it myself. 1996, I played for a team that was getting all the attention. We were getting ready to go to the playoffs. I would be foolish if I didn't admit out loud that all the attention that I was getting, partly because of the good team that I was playing on in Los Angeles, helped me win the Rookie of the Year. There's no doubt about it. I got hot at the right time. I was hitting 300 in the second half. I was hitting at the top of the lineup. It was like, you know, a fluid story. And oh, by the way, we were winning, and we were the top of everybody's highlight show because we were a team that was making its way to the playoffs.
Reyes with the chopper to Riddle, dug out by Bohr, 2 away.
Simply put, Anderson's not getting nearly the same attention because of the expectations that have been placed on this Marlins team going back to the transition this team made this winter. This team plays better, as they have. By the way, if they win today, we'll be 14-14 in the month of June. Have played better baseball. Now, the one thing, I don't need to sit here and tell everybody that Brian Anderson's played better baseball. He really hasn't played better baseball this year. He's played consistent baseball from start to finish to where we are. If we're stopping the conversation today, and that's the point.
Brandon Nimmo squares and pulls back, takes ball 1.
I was mentioning in my notes, we really didn't get to it, but I'd actually put down his OPS over, you know, the first 3 months of the season. 760 in April, 745 in May, and 830 in June.
Dietrich on the edge of the track. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Conley. We'll talk more BA when we come back. A 3-2 lead for Miami as it took a little while, but they finally got to Jacob deGrom. 3 runs in the bottom of the 6th inning. He was pinch hit for, and now Robert Gazelman comes in out of the New York Mets bullpen. 37th game for him this year. He has an ERA up a little bit lower than 4.5. Former starter, he's had bouts of starting, but now trying to become more effective out of the bullpen. for New York.
Well, he had been for quite some time. In fact, when we saw him, they were ranting and raving about the transition. But for Gesellman, he's allowed 10 runs his last 4 outings, last 5 1/3. So he's been getting knocked around here of late. 16.89 ERA.
Yadiel Rivera to lead things off. Breaking ball in there for a called strike 1. 0 for 2 today, Yadiel. If you go back to June 16th, he is 7 for his last 24 with 3 walks. Seen a little bit more playing time with the injury to Miguel Rojas, who got hit by a pitch in Baltimore, had a couple of days off in Baltimore, came back, had to sit out again. And Don Mattingly mentioned today, when asked if it was just a day for Miggy, he said he got whacked pretty hard in Baltimore. So that's, you know, some swelling, some inflammation, discomfort, whatever you want to call it. And he'll just kind of pick his spots to make sure that Miggy stays as close to 100% as possible in on the hands of Rivera. 2-2. Said he could have played him today, but figures just give him the day off. So if it's a tight ball game as we get further into the afternoon here at Marlins Park, perhaps you'll see him, as we have many times, as a defensive replacement at some point. But for now, it's Yadiel, and fouls that one into the second deck. Still 2-2.
He's got a 6-game hitting streak over his last 6 starts. 33 batting average. Good stuff. I mean, he's been the answer. He's come in, obviously, games defensively late, certainly earning more opportunity to start.
Rivera, we've noted it 1,000 times, plays a great defense, but has also kind of jump-started a couple of rallies too in the last couple of weeks. Stays alive. It's kind of been the theme for this organization throughout the first half of 2018. Make the most of your opportunities, and there will be more of them.
Well, he's making Gesellman work. This is how it goes. Gesellman, his last 4 appearances, has given up 10 hits, 10 earned runs, a couple of home runs as well.
That's Frazier. A close play at first base, and Rivera out by an eyelash for the first out here in the 7th. Took 1 extra beat before throwing across the diamond. Maybe more than an eyelash. An eyebrow, maybe. Cameron Maben with 1 out.
Cameron pinch hit last night, had a base hit back up the middle, RBI single. 4 for 20 pitch hitting on the season.
He went, says home plate umpire Eric Cooper. 0-2. Steckenrider up for the Marlins. Three RBIs for Maben on the homestand. As he awaits a 1-2 from Gesellman. Maben has worked the count full. From 0-2 to 3-2, and here it is. Through the left side, a base hit for Cameron Maben.
Please join us for Salute and Serve, presented by Ticked on Monday, July 2nd, as we invite those who serve to join us for a ball game. Active and retired U.S. military personnel, veterans, firemen, and police officers receive 2 complimentary tickets when showing their official service IDs at the center field entrance at Marlins Park. For more information, visit marlins.com/offers. I'll tell you what, that was one heck of an at-bat by Maben. Down 0-2, all the way back to 3-2. Got a 2-seam fastball he could handle and ripped it through the left side. That is back-to-back pitch hits last 2 games. And now Dietrich.
And a 1-out single in the 6th, came in to score on the home run from Anderson. Now chops one right side. Cabrera spins and throws, and they'll get the lead runner Maben for the 2nd out. That's going to bring up Brian Anderson, whose 2-run home run in the 6th tied the game. Marlins would add another later in that frame. So quickly, with 2 outs, the point I was going to make before about Brian Anderson, again, as a fan, someone who does not have an MVP vote, I always kind of look at MVP for me should come from a winning team. I don't think Rookie of the Year is necessarily that way. Another look at the homer off the Grom from the 6th.
Well, there's still a lot of season left, a lot to be decided.
Sure.
But, you know, the one thing that we look at when it comes to Anderson, he is putting together on the more complete rookie season.
Fouled by Rosario. And Anderson will reach on an E6.
Let's take another look. High hopper to Rosario, who just handcuffs himself right there, maybe trying to be a little bit too quick. Squeezes it out of the glove. Extra opportunity here in the bottom of the 7th for the Marlins to stretch that lead if they can come up with a hit. Pretty good one in the box to get that done.
Low to Real Muto. Looking for his first hit today. 0 for 3 today, but in his last 14 games prior to this, 4 homers, 13 RBIs, and a .357 batting average.
Into today, 301 here at Marlins Park. It's pretty impressive. JT's story, certainly over the last a couple of seasons. He absolutely tore it up on the road last year, but had some difficulties here at Marlins Park. Part of that ongoing all-star story is the fact that he's even fixed some of the things he struggled with last year. One of them being hitting at home.
Two and 1. 2-2. And now Real Muto, left field line. score is Dietrich. Around from third, Brian Anderson will score on a 2 RBI double for JT Realmuto. It's 5-2 Miami.
Well, right man, right spot once again. I'll tell you, the top of this Marlins lineup has been so good this month of June. So many times they have given the extra out, made the other team, the opposition, pay. Sullivan splits the righties much better at bats against him, partly because of that two-seam fastball. He jumped all over one there, ripped it into the left field corner. Anderson able to score standing up. Marlins in position to bring this game home.
And it's now an 8-game hit streak thanks to the 19th double of the year for JT Realmuto. Still about a week or so to vote him to the All-Star game. NL ballot update coming up, Monday or Tuesday next week. I hope that most people would see that he should not only be in the top 5, frankly, but if there's any room left on the soapbox I've been on the last half hour or so, he should be starting the All-Star game too, inside to Justin Bour.
Well, he should be riding if he's not there, first of all.
That's right. I mean, in a nice way, but yeah.
It's just as simple as that. I mean, there's no other defense to make anybody else's case. There's other good contenders, but he's out in front of everybody.
And Bour foul. Through 5 innings, it was all Jacob deGrom. In the last 2 innings, it has been all Miami Marlins.
Well, there's 2 things that I would even add on to that. How about Lopez? I say this all the time. Kind of protecting the deficit. I know it sounds weird to say it that way, but kept this game in line.
Called strike 3 right on the inside corner to Justin Bour. JT Realmuto drives home 2 on the double. It is 5-2 Miami through 7. Adding on a couple more in the bottom of the 7th. A couple of changes as Miguel Rojas does in fact come into the ball game as a defensive replacement, takes over at first base. Also staying in the game, Cameron Maven moving out to left field. And the new pitcher is Drew Steckenrider, who is on quite a run right now. 39th game of the year, a 3.38 ERA, but a lot of, if not all of the runs scored in a little pocket about a month or so ago. He is currently, since May 22nd, on a 17 scoreless appearance run, which covers 14 2/3 innings.
Yep, only 7 hits allowed, 12 Ks. He's been outstanding, no doubt about it. Fantastic job setting up Bearclaw. You're absolutely right about that little stretch. It's just a little pocket of 4 appearances. Just over 3 innings. He gave up 11 earned runs. In some regards, almost unexplainable. I don't think any of us have seen Steck's career really could explain that little bout of wildness, but those 11 earned runs in 3 innings really set his ERA back. But to see where he's at, boy, oh boy. I'll tell you what, he's rehabbed that ERA ever since.
Ahead, a ball and 2 strikes to Jose Bautista, who hit a home run in the first inning against Pablo Lopez. Right after the first major league strikeout for Lopez, the first home run allowed, but it was that homer and the Todd Frazier homer in the 6th. Really the only blemishes on the afternoon for Lopez, his first big league start. Top 20 prospect for the Marlins. Big league debut as Steckenrider gets a called strike 3 on Bautista.
A little running action in 97. Steck feeling good today. Usually we see 94 to 96. He's got it moving. Fouls up that outside, low outside corner. Oh boy, I'll tell you, Marlins right now have 2 late inning weapons that not a lot of teams in baseball have, and both on a run at the exact same time. There you go. Who gets the boast to go 8th inning, 9th inning, or some combination of the 2? It's a top 6 list, and you got 2 guys on there,
and one's a starter who can rack up, 6, 7, 8 innings at a clip in a day. Got Eric Cooper behind home plate.
It sure did. That left forearm.
Couple of ground outs and a strikeout today for Cabrera. Lifts one out to shallow right field. Castro calling off Anderson for out number 2. Now Michael Conforto. Looks at ball 1 down low at 96 miles an hour from Steckenrider. It's been interesting, and it has worked out so well for the Marlins, but in a day and age, and this is certainly no disrespect meant to Brad Ziegler, when he was the closer, really the only one that I can think of that was throwing less than 97 miles an hour, kind of that change of pace. After guys like Guerrero with the high heat, and Steckenrider and Bearclaw were kind of setting up for Ziegler at the time. But since Ziegler had been taken out of that closer's role and been used in much more of a matchup spot to finish off the 5th or the 6th or the 7th or what have you, Ziegler's been great. Steckenrider, who we've mentioned, has been amazing. And Bearclaw has thrown, I don't know, what is it, 15 perfect games in a row or something crazy? I mean, it's been outstanding, and everything is kind of slotted in very well for the Marlins. And for a team that, with a win today, will move out of last place in the National League East, when you are in front late in games, those are the ones you need to win and finish off. They've done a good job of doing that last month or so. Steckenrider trying to finish off Conforto. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And 2 strikeouts in the inning for Steck. Another scoreless inning for him. Blows away Conforto to the last of the 8th. Bullpen brings in Anthony Swarzak for the New York Mets. Everyone deserves a second chance. Just play Grouper. Enter your Lucky Money ticket online and you're registered for the $400,000 Super Grouper Second Chance promotion. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. So Swarzak in, third pitcher of the afternoon. DeGrom worked the first 6, Gazelman the 7th, and Swarzak, pitching in his 13th game this year, will get the 8th.
Yeah, I do remember early on this season we were ranting and raving about the reconfigured Mets bullpen. They've got a lot of issues down there. We told you about the new faces. Swarzak certainly one of them. He's allowed 6 runs in his last 9 ball games over 9 innings. 5.58 ERA. Righty's hitting .310, lefty's hitting .364 against him. Oh, and 1 to Castro. Shoots another one foul. 0-2. 2 hits today for Starlin. As I mentioned before, he's got a 6-game hit streak now, and 4 of those games have been multi-hit. So whatever cold spell he was going through seems to be a thing of the past. Well, he's up to 280. You see his batting average there on the season. Certainly improved. A couple of home runs here on the homestand. Usually when we're talking about Starlin in glowing terms, we're usually talking left field line to right field line, and he has rediscovered that, no doubt, over this homestand. A couple of home runs to left. Base hit today to right center field. Base it up the middle. And into third.
Don Mattingly said the other day he has a feel for hitting and he will get his hits. And he's got a trio of them today. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Miami Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. 4th 3-hit game of the year for Starlin Castro. Sets up JT Riddle with a runner on and nobody out here in the 8th inning.
Yeah, talking about Castro, I think I mentioned it about a week ago, and it's good to see him kind of back it up just a little bit. Some guys you let struggle every day. You let them go out there and you let them hit and figure their way through the 2 for 20, 3 for 30. Starlin is definitely one of those players. He'll get himself out of it. He'll start to hit again. Other guys you got to shut down. Other guys you got to give them a couple of days off here and there, kind of spot them a little bit till they get their swing going. Starlin's a guy you just let play. Almost always finds his way out of the woods. Yeah, impressive stuff. A little two-seam fastball here. This is the last base hit. Got jammed a little bit, but this is all about the swing with 2 strikes. Upstairs to Riddle, a ball and 2 strikes. In a day in a game where we've had a big home run from Anderson. Lopez made his major league debut on Venezuelan Heritage Day. We've the JT Riddle double. JT Riddle may have had the most impactful hit in this ball game, and it went about 70 feet.
That's right. Absolutely right. One on the ground to Rosario, gets it out of his glove, but they won't double up Riddle. They get the lead runner Castro. Kind of on the second attempt to get the ball out of the glove, but Riddle reaches nonetheless on the fielder's choice. Kyle Bearclaw is up. We're again halfway through the season. We're at the point where you can't really boost the batting average all that much. And I was just looking here. Starlin Castro was at 267 at the end of June 24th. He is now at 282. Speaking of rising batting averages, here's Lewis Brinson.
I enjoy talking about rising exit velocity myself. Agreed. The line out, his last at bat. Now, I was ranting and raving yesterday. 3 times up in the 100s, including his home run, 107. The line out to left, his last at bat. What do you want to take a gander? You didn't look at my notes, did you?
I frequently do look over your shoulder and try to steal your notes, but I did not this particular time.
You want to take a guess on that line drive?
109.
Very close. 110. Impressive stuff. He's barreling up right now. He's getting his pitch. He's not missing it. He's waiting for that mistake. When he gets it, boy oh boy, it's coming off the bat pretty hard.
Now again, don't misconstrue this for me saying that Lewis Brinson is going to win the batting title. Don't do that. Okay, I've seen enough baseball to know that 188 is not going to get it done. But the point is, okay, the difference between him at the end of May 31st, he was hitting 152. So he's added 36 points to his batting average in a month. So again, it all goes back to the work. He strikes out here, but it all goes back to the work that he'd been doing toward the end of May. Marlins started to give him days off here and there. And it's, for the most part, it's worked. It doesn't mean he's going to go 5-5 every night the rest of the way. But I think you'd agree, and you've said it. What we've seen in the month of June has led to a great deal of promise.
Well, there's elements of sustainability to his game, and you start to project that. Can he be an everyday player? Should he be out there every day? Like, he said it when he started to kind of slow down a little bit.
Runner goes. Throw down to second is in time. Cabrera applied the tag to Riddle, and that's how this inning will end. We'll see Kyle Bearclaw as he tries to get a save in a 5-2 game. brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Kubota. For information or to find a Kubota dealer near you, go to gokubota.com and by your South Florida Honda dealers. Venezuelan Heritage Day here at Marlins Park. A 5-2 lead going to the top of the 9th inning. A lot of these folks enjoying a great day at the yard regardless of the outcome, but right now it's gone the way of the Marlins in trying to finish off what would be the first big league start in the major league debut of Venezuelan native Pablo Lopez. It's Kyle Bearclaw in his 37th game this year. They'll face Wilmer Flores, Todd Frazier, and Devin Mesoraco.
This is a save opportunity for number 8 for Kyle. Last 21 innings. Now he did give up a hit yesterday. A little pop fly down the left field line, kind of fell in the little Bermuda Triangle there. So 2 hits allowed his last 65 at bats. It's an .031 batting average. Boy, I have fun saying this stuff every time he pitches. Batting average on balls in play, .040. Whip, .044. ERA, .044. I mean, it's just silly.
You know what's fun about it? The numbers get smaller every time you do it.
Well, usually. I mean, like I said, I'm still upset about the bloop single yesterday.
That was the first hit he allowed since May 22nd. Last I checked, he is still human.
Well, my point is that you'd rather it be a rocket. You know, somebody, you know, base hit to center field, let line drive, not a little pop fly down the line.
Well, it's really no difference than your traditional no-hitter, your one-game no-hitter. It's just that he's spreading his no-hitters out over 20 appearances. Castro to center, or in center rather, will put it away on the pop-up from Wilmer Flores. 1 out in the 9th. The W.B. Mason Marlins Live post-game show coming up with Craig Minervini and Jeff Nelson.
Well, that's Mrs. Nelson, Mr. and Mrs. Nelson.
That's right.
Craig's been let go.
No, Craig's milling. I think I can see Craig. He's gearing up in hopes of a post-game interview.
All right, so I mentioned that he gave up a hit yesterday to Nimmo down that left field line, little blooper, right? So you got to, if you want to go all the way back, now this is just kind of for fun. So the last 2 hits he's given up have been to Mets. Obviously Nimmo, but before that, that long stretch of hitless innings appearances that Bearclaw had going. I'm not even going to try to play this game with you because I think you're going to fail miserably.
Thanks.
Well, that's why we're not going to play it. I was going to say to you, name the Met that got the hit back May 22nd, the last time he gave up a hit.
Keith Hernandez.
Well, they're kind of on the same program, pal.
Adrian Gonzalez.
He is no longer a Met. There you go, Adrian Gonzalez. Well, technically, not wearing the uniform.
Right. 0-2 to Todd Frazier. What were those 2 strike numbers? Did you still have those anywhere around? I mean, that was just an 0-2 and he got a strikeout.
Hold your horses.
Okay.
2 for 72.
Okay.
Yeah. Great. That number's going to go down to, I'm not sure even it'll move off the 0-28. And again, if Josh Hader wasn't doing what he was doing, I think a lot of this attention would just kind of be all over Bearclaw, not that it isn't already. Hader, how about 2 for 102? My goodness. How about the difference in batting averages? So 2 for 72 gets you 0-28, 2 for 102. What's that, 19?
They're silly numbers right now. They really are.
I'm telling you, you can't even do it on a video game.
0-2 to Devin Mesoraco. First big league start for Pablo Lopez. Went the first 6 innings, got 5 strikeouts. A 3-run 6th got him off the hook. And Bearclaw will save Lopez's first big league victory It's a Marlins win, 5-2 this afternoon, as they have taken the first 2 in this 3-game series against the New York Mets. They'll go for the sweep tomorrow. Congratulations to Pablo, who along with Sandy gets their first big league win. Back to wrap it up after the break.